Hey there, welcome to a brand new episode of Muzikxpress. My name is Twan and in this week's vlog you will see the first of 3 interviews which I did with Laurent Véronnez aka Airwave. In this week's vlog you will see the story behind the Airwave classic Save Me. But before we start with the interview, please make sure to subscribe to my channel and, very important, also make sure to click the bell button because then you will get a notification the next time a new vlog is online. Alright, here it is, the story behind Save Me by Airwave, my interview with Laurent Véronnez. Enjoy! Laurent Véronnez is a producer, composer and live performer from Brussels in Belgium. He is known for projects such as V1, Planisphere, Lolo, The Green Martian, Cape Town, Velvet Girl, Fire and Ice, Cloud 69 and many others. But his most famous project is Airwave, for which he released tracks such as Above the Sky, Innerspace, Alone in the Dark and When Things Go Wrong, for example. For this week's vlog I spoke to Laurent to ask him about the story behind the Airwave classic Save Me and more. My first question to him was around what age he started to listen to music.
Oh, I started really early. I was like 5 years old when I started actively listening to music, to proper music. And it was in 1983, 84. So you can imagine the amount of good releases we had, the likes of Simple Minds, Eurythmics, Alphaville, name them. I got to listen to them at a very early age. And of course, they influenced the rest of my path musically.
And around what age did you start making music yourself?
It was way later. I was still influenced, by the likes of Vangelis and everything because I really liked movie scores to begin with. But then I started I was like 14. I was a bit desperate and very difficult period of my life. My teenage years, like 12 to 15, 16 years old. So music was a very good therapy for that. And this is how I started making music. I started playing on the piano at the public school, and everyone was making fun of me at the beginning. And after 2 or 3 months, they were not making fun of me anymore. They were really enthusiastic and very supportive. So thanks for that.
So you're classically trained then?
No, not at all.
No, not
Actually,
at all.
I'm completely self-trained.
Okay.
So I learned everything on my own, and for better or good, or worse, of course. It's just that sometimes I can play things that are super complicated, and on the other hand, things that any classically trained musician should be able to play, I can't. Mm-hmm. So don't ask me why, but that's the way it is.
Yeah. So do you remember your very first ever release?
Yes, of course. A very bad one. Well, bad for our standards in 2023, but back then it was an okay release. It got played in the clubs like Extreme. It got even a license on some compilations in Belgium, and it sold 600 copies, which is not bad. Yeah. What was the name again? North Pole. That was the first project I had. It was something, just I was just scratching the surface of getting my music released, so it was new.
How old were you then?
I was 18 when I submitted the record, and I was 19 when it got released.
Yeah. Okay. Nice. So you have tons of projects such as L-Vee, The Green Martian, Lolo, Velvet Girl, V1, and a lot of others.
Right.
But your most famous one is for sure Airwave. How did you come up with the name Airwave?
I didn't come up with it. So that's the thing. I had this incredible release, 2 tracks. I Want to Believe and Venus of My Dreams, and I needed a new project name for that incredible release. And the story is that my manager of back then had a pack of gums that you probably know called Airwaves in his pocket, and that became the name by mistake. And this is what happened.
Yeah.
So I was like, okay, Airwave, okay, fine. It was just another project name for me, but then the record got picked up by the likes of Oakenfold, Sasha, and many more, and of course Ferry Corsten, and then from there it became my most successful project name.
So then you had to stick to the name Airwave.
Yeah, exactly.
So for this vlog, we're going to talk about the Airwave track Save Me, a massive classic which came out back in the year 2001.
Yeah.
Was there anything that did inspire you when you started to work on Save Me?
Yeah, I was in panic. I was literally in panic when making the record because I badly needed a new track to release very soon, and I didn't have anything, and I just had this new material, and I was really in a rush. So Save Me was like a bit what's gonna happen next? I didn't know, and this is when probably the biggest tracks always come to you.
So that's also how you came up with the name Save Me.
Literally, it was the case, and
So can you tell a bit more about the production process from Save Me?
So it was very, 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 very simple. It was just a basic repetitive ARP coming from the JP 8000 or 8080 in my case, because I had the rack version of it. So a Roland synthesizer, very famous in the 90s and early 2000s. And I really, really love that synthesizer for, the fact that you could layer the supersaw that's so famous in the trance scene with another sub-oscillator. And it could give you this incredible sound that you can hear in many other records. And of course, a little less detuned. And I just came up with this repetitive thing that they liked so much from my other projects, such as V1, Dead Cities, and Industry, and But I wanted to make it a bit more emotional somehow. I was like, okay, we can try to, and I came. Actually, I happen to have it here with here. I don't know if we can. It's just as simple as that. And then you just raise the mod wheel. So, as simple as that.
Yeah, it's simple, but it is beautiful.
For me back then, it was. Thank you. But for me back then, it was so simple. I wasn't thinking, and that's the beauty of making music as a creator, where you're in a rush, you don't have time to think, and you make the most beautiful things ever.
Yeah.
And this is when you should absolutely press record.
Yeah. So when you started, you didn't have like a melody in your head already. You just did something, and this happened.
Yeah, and I didn't understand how beautiful it was until later on.
Yeah.
So it just, and then you probably know the story. And
So what was the most difficult part of the production?
It was obviously getting it done, because I was working on this new mixing desk from Yamaha that had just been released, or it was new to me. It was a digital one with total recall and everything. It was the 01V from Yamaha, if I remember correctly, and it was a great mixing desk, but getting grips with it and everything was a bit more difficult. And that was the tricky part for me, getting it mixed a bit, because mixing has never been my forte personally. And from there, it took me a few hours only to get this done. But that's the tricky thing. You don't know if it's gonna be good at the end. The most difficult part is to keep sticking to the idea that you have to finish it as soon as possible. That's what I still do. I stick to this to this process, to always finish what I start as soon as possible.
Yeah. So in hours, how long did it take you to finish Save Me?
I think it took me 5 hours or something like that. Yeah.
I always love it when I do interviews, and then like the biggest tracks they have made like in a few hours time.
Yeah, another track of mine, Above the Sky, was 90 minutes.
Oh.
So It was with the Nord lead and with a bit of but that's the beauty of making music. The best things always come.
Yeah, that's
shortest timing.
So do you still have some of the old equipment?
I still have an Access Virus. I still have a bassline synthesizer that I got recently. I still have a TR-8S from Roland. I love this drum machine because it's jack of all trades. You have all the drums, all the sounds you like, but also with the hands-on feel of a drum machine, which I like a lot. And I still have a few other things to control that. But that's pretty much it. Yeah. I don't need much. I got rid of my JP synthesizer. I should never have done that, of course. But no regrets, really, because now with software, what you're hearing here in the demo is Diva on the software synthesizer from Yui, and reproduces the sound of a Virus or a JP without any trouble. And I really like the sound of it even more than the original hardware.
Ah, good. Yeah, do you remember some of the DJs that support Save Me?
Oh yeah, all of them. Ferry to begin with, quickly followed by Armin. That seemed obvious, but still. And then Tiesto picks it up, and then Judge Jules picks it up and signs it on his label, or on a label he's working with. It's called Sirius Records, and they sold like 20,000 vinyls in the UK only.
Oh wow!
From that release, I was like, what?
Those were the days.
Those were the days. So
Save Me got released in 2001. Were you already active as a DJ, or did you already do your Airwave live act by then?
So I was still doing the DJ things primarily because it was more convenient for all the party promoters and everything. I didn't have any hardware to bring with me. And in 2001, by the time it was released, I started, doing live gigs, but it was much more of an experiment. So I did the first one in La Bouche, which is a club in South Belgium, in Tournai, where my father is from originally, and it was a great experience. But it was not. It was very experimental, the early days of my live sets. So nothing to do with what I'm doing nowadays.
Yeah, and I guess it was a bit of a hassle, with all the equipment.
Oh, tell me about it. I had to take this Yamaha mixer with me, plus the synthesizers and everything. It took me 6 hours to put it all together, and I had an okay sound in the venue, but could have been better.
Yeah. So what is your favorite memory when it comes to the release of Save Me?
The response from the people, and the response I keep getting from people even now until today. It's just wonderful. They come up to me and everything with their stories about how they discovered Save Me and everything. It's really inspiring. Yeah. Really, it got me moved.
Yeah, I can imagine. Times. And even after like 20 years.
Yeah, it's just as if time had stopped by the time they had heard Save Me. So for something you do in 5 hours in a rush, it's time well spent.
Yeah, for sure. So was music a full-time job for you already back then?
It was, and it still is. And I really enjoyed the time spent in the studio back then. I didn't have any kids. I only had my partner, and she would give me a lot of time in the studio. So I spent sometimes days and nights, like 30 hours straight in the studio, just stopping for the bathroom and a bit of lunch and dinner, and that was it. Yeah. And I would spend entire days and nights there in my little studio in Antwerp. I was so happy.
So not really studio hours, office hours.
No, really. Well, if you want to make it big in any business as an entrepreneur, you have to you have to be young. You have to keep away from other kind of obligations such as family. Happy I went through there, but this is not the way I work nowadays. Thank God, because I have a wonderful family, and but back then it was.
So at the end of 2019, you did release an album called Classical Reworks with classical interpretations from some of your biggest tracks. Save Me was the first one on the album. So why did you decide to put Save Me as first track on the album?
As simple as that. It was the first version I came up with. Save Me was absolutely the very first classical rework version, the piano version I did back then. That was in early 2019. I remember I just had the big master keyboard from Native Instruments, the Complete Control S88 Mark II. I started playing with a few digital virtual pianos in there. And I came to listen to Noir, which is one of Native Instruments' original pianos, and I was like, "Wow, this is it! This is actually the sound of a Yamaha CFX grand piano, sampled note by note several times with different microphone positions and everything. It was so inspiring, and just it was the end of 2018, early 2019, and I was with a lot of pain in my heart, and I just started playing the piano after all these years. And I came up with that, and I was like, wow, this is it. I just want to make an album out of it. And Classical Reworks was born that way with Save Me. And this is why it remains one of the most important tracks in my discography nowadays.
So do you plan on doing more classical reworks of some of your other tracks in the future?
Yeah, definitely. I would like to do a season 2 as we, or an episode 2, as we can say, with another live performance linked to that. And I still am working on existing versions, on the existing classical reworks I've done. So I improved my playing on Save Me when things go wrong. Lady Blue became a 6-minute version, for example. Alone in the Dark became also a 6-minute version that has nothing to do with the studio version. So it's going to become very very cool in the next few years to be able to play that again for an audience, not just for myself, because I keep training on these tracks pretty much once in a week.
I think what was it last year? You did like a live performance on piano.
I did that in 2019 already. That was the end of 2019, just before COVID, and it was from my home just before I had to get rid of the acoustic piano. I went for digital. Because of neighbors and everything. You know what I'm talking about. But the thing is, it was a wonderful memory, you know. And yeah, I keep playing these tracks now, and I had already recorded and performed many other tracks that are not on the album. So season 2 is definitely on the cards.
Good to hear. So the year 2023 started really well for you. A brand new ambient EP just came out. What can you tell about that EP?
An exceptionally hot day contains 2 fantastic tracks that I did during, mostly a lockdown period. And I'm really happy with them because it's another face of Airwave. It's not only the old trance or the actual progressive or melodic house or techno that you can, whatever you may call it. It's also a lot of melodic ambient music, a lot of neoclassical stuff, and a lot of other genres. And I really like doing ambient music. I released also Newer, Not Your Usual Ringtone last year with it was a 1 sample challenge, and it became a 10-track album, each track being like 5 to 10 minutes long, and it's really a good album too, and you should definitely check out my latest ambient releases because they're really, really cool. Well, in my opinion, but of course you decide.
What's the name again of the EP?
An Exceptionally Hot Day, because it was done on a very very hot day
in summer.
In the summer.
So yeah, there will be more ambient releases later this year then.
Yes, definitely, and more of in other genres too. There is a track that's just been released with Denzel. If you know the singer-songwriter Denzel from Belgium, he is incredible. He did an incredible vocal for the end titles of a movie score I did, and it became that track You Should Have Let Me Go that we've just released together, and it comes in two versions, the original versions, but it's a longer mix, and then the club mix I did for the clubs, of course, and it's more synthwave oriented, which is another style I would like to pursue in my career.
So we have trance, we have like a bit more progressive, we have ambient and synthwave.
It's just like any guy playing, for Barca, playing total football. Well, I'm playing total music.
Yeah, that's true. So Denzel, for the people that maybe don't know him, he did his track. I can't remember the year. Like
Pump It Up.
Yeah,
in 2003.
That was a big hit.
A huge hit. Yeah, indeed.
It's 20 years ago already.
Yeah.
Oh wow.
Yeah.
Time flies. So we can expect more tracks from you two together.
Yes, definitely. Because secretly we've been working together on several several pieces of music for about 10 years.
Yeah, I read it on your Facebook. I was like, oh wow.
Yeah, so this is the first one that came up, and this is probably the latest one we did. But we had another conversation on the phone the other day. Hint, hint. And he really wants to pursue in this direction too. And I really would like to support his career as a singer-songwriter. Yeah. So I would like to give him some synthwave, but also some other faces of mine that I can deliver to. And I would like to work with more singers and songwriters in the future, because they remain true to themselves.
Yeah. And like most of your, like the Airwave tracks, I think they're all like 90% are like instrumental.
Yeah. So it makes sense now to keep working with singer-songwriters. I used to work with the likes of Tiff Lacey. I did a track with her, and I desperately want to make another one. And I also did a track with Di Bauer that was fantastic. It was called 10 Years. Really recommend it. Just go check it out if you can, because it's beautiful music. Of course, not as dance floor friendly as you can imagine, but it's really cool music. And so the more the better. And I also worked with Didi, if you know her.
Forever.
Also a Belgian, from Forever, Belgian singer, songwriter, very nice one. And we worked on this Madonna-esque kind of track, also in the synthwave genre, more synth pop actually, with the likes of Yazoo, Erasure in mind, but with her vocals.
Still get the 80s, like your influences.
Yeah, but I really want to focus on the 80s, the real sound of the 80s, not like the synthwave, the actual synthwave scene is, that focuses more on synthesizers and all. I just want to find that sound of the likes of Peter Gabriel, Genesis, yes, Trevor Horn in general, with Frankie Goes to Hollywood, but also the Art of Noise and this kind of music, all these gated reverb things, and Prince was really good with that. So there will be a little bit of all influences in the synthwave, and I really would like to pursue that.
Yeah. So and new Airwave music?
Yes, definitely. A lot of it. Of course, because I stick to the dance floors. I've just finished a new track. I cannot reveal the name. It's for my label Progressions. And I have a super, super smash hit coming to Juve Recordings. It's called Guru Meditation, and you should really go check it out when it gets released. John has played it. John W has played it quite a few times now when he was, and he said the reaction is massive. So I'm really looking forward to its release too.
Good. So is there still something on your bucket list, music-wise?
Yeah, lots of ambient music, and there are a lot of people I still want to collaborate with in that area too. I've been talking about a collaboration with the likes of Solar Fields for over 12 years now. It never happened. And we are friends, And there is a guy in the synthwave area I would like to work with. This is Michael Oakley, because he's been around for a few years. He really makes a difference in the genre. And we've been also talking about making stuff together for years, but at this point, lack of time, lack of the right context and everything, so it makes everything a bit more difficult.
But it's good that you still have like a lot of ideas and plans.
Yeah, and I would like to keep working with all the people I've been working so far with. So that's the most important.
Yeah. And the last question: pineapple on pizza, yes or no?
Sorry to piss you off, guys in Italy. Yes.
Awesome. That's what all right. Thanks a lot for your time and good luck with everything.
Thank you for having me. Really, really appreciate it.
Alright, that was it. This week's vlog, the story behind Save Me by Airwave, my interview with Laurent Véronnez. Laurent, thank you very much for your time. Much appreciated. Thank you for watching. I hope you enjoyed the vlog. If you did, make sure to give this video a like, leave a comment in the comment section below, and very important, make sure to subscribe. Also make sure to click the bell button, because then you will get a notification the next time a new vlog is online. And there will be 2 more interviews with Laurent. In the next interview I spoke to him about Cloud 69 and 69 Ways. And the last one will be the story behind When Things Go Wrong, another beautiful Airwave classic. Those interviews should be online in the next couple of months. Once again, thanks for watching, and until next time, bye bye!